Welcome to the Pump Mechanic Podcast, the only podcast that is not trying to sell you something, at least not just yet. Just straight talk for now for better results. This is episode 3, and I'm glad that you tuned in with us today. So, if you've been lifting for any amount of time and you've made some gains, shirts getting a little tighter, there are 2 questions that you've probably been asked. Number 1 is, how much do you bench, bro? In fact, I was asked this question last night. How much do you bench? I don't bench. Then the second question that is usually asked is, what's your split, bro? What's your split? And in fact, that the person asks a question like this tells me that there is a huge misconception about splits. There's a huge misunderstanding about workout splits and benching, for that matter. Is there a golden split? Is there a split that will automatically increase your gains? And if so, what is that split? Now, you can jump in the comments and you can tell me, well, it's the Arnold split. Some will say, well, it's the bro split. I swear by it. Some will say it's a full body split. Somebody will say it's an upper-lower split. And then there is the GOAT of splits, or at least as it is dubbed, the GOAT of splits, push-pull legs. Some people talk about push-pull legs as if it is automatically the best split. And there's a flaw in that way of thinking, in that approach to working out. And so in this episode, we're going to discover why, alongside giving you what could very well be the route to making some gains. And that is giving you a push-pull leg workout that is going to be the best exercises, the best machines, and the best ways to approach that workout so that you can get maximum gains. So stick around for that. We'll look at that. But before we get to that, I first have to get us on the right track when it comes to talking about push-pull legs and when it comes to talking about workout splits. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is to think that there is a GOAT split. There is a split that's the greatest of all time. And that's not how good programming works. That is gym floor jargon, if you will. That is social media hooks and things that they use in order to get you, hey, bro, try this split. It got me all my muscles. And so good programming doesn't work like that. Good programming is goal-focused. That's what good programming is. Because different goals will warrant different splits, different exercises, and choices, and different areas of emphasis. And so there is no one split for every single person. There is a split that works for you. And so if your goal is maximum strength, if you're trying to get as strong as possible, then training may need to revolve around, barbell specificity. May need to revolve around technical practice, how to lift appropriately, and long rest periods. Those may be the things that you are going to focus on if strength is your desire. If your desire is hypertrophy, then you're going to have to be focused on muscle stimulus, fatigue management, exercise order, and which program allows enough weekly quality volume and allows enough time for you to rest. Those are the things that you're going to focus on. And if your goal is fat loss, that's another category altogether. You want to lose fat while preserving muscle, then recovery and exercise efficiency is going to be the key thing to look at. And so here's the principle when it comes to splits. A split is a tool. That's what it is. It's a tool primarily focused on what you're going to train and in what order. That's all it is. The split organizes the work per your goals. The split is not the work itself. The split is not the thing itself. Your goal is the thing. Your goal is what you should be focused on. The split is just going to be the vehicle that is going to help you achieve your goals in the best way possible. And that matters. That matters. Why? Because you can have a great split on paper. I can give you a push-pull leg day, which I hope I'm able to do, give you a push-pull leg day that is able to help you get some gains. I can give that to you, put it in your hand, print it off, stand alongside you in the gym. But if that exercise selection within your split is not done with intensity, if you are not goal-driven, if you're not resting enough, if your nutrition is not good enough, then the split's not going to matter, right? Because you're not putting in the work in every other place. If your effort is inconsistent and your recovery is poor, and even if the exercise selection within the split is bad, then it's not going to matter. On the other hand, you can have a very simple split. You could have a bro split. That's what I ran for years. Remember years ago, I think I was running an Arnold split, and a bodybuilder approached me as I was working out in the gym, and there's a couple of bodybuilders there, and he's saying, you should try the bro split. I used that, and it really helped me. And so I started doing the bro split, and it worked for me. It worked for my schedule. It worked for what I wanted to do, and I grew because of a bro split. Really simple stuff. But was that the best split? No, it was the best split for me. And so that is why I want to frame this whole conversation. When we talk about splits, when we talk about the best splits, I want to frame this whole conversation this way. If you are asking what the best split is, you are asking the wrong question. You need to ask what your goals are and then determine what split to use to facilitate those goals. What split to use to best accomplish those goals. And so that is a good starting point. You have to think about splits a little bit different. It's a tool. It's not the thing itself. And so first, determine what your goals are. If your goal is maximum strength, then upper-lower split, powerlifting style split, that's probably going to work best for you. If your goal is hypertrophy, then push-pull legs, the bro split even, or even the Arnold split, those are things that you're going to be focused on, or those are things that you might look at if you're into hypertrophy. If your goal is fat loss while preserving muscle, then a full body split or an upper-lower split may work best for you. But you have to look at your goals. And that's usually the problem with when individuals get into the gym, and even with guys who are currently in the gym. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what their goals are. Oh, I just want to get big. Well, okay. Well, do you want to get bodybuilder big, or do you want to get Eddie Hall big? How big do you want to get, right? What's your goal? And so for this episode, what we are doing is we're going to be focusing on hypertrophy, and we're going to be looking at the split for many who consider this the GOAT, push-pull legs. And we want to ask the question, what's the best? I'm walking into the gym tomorrow, right? If I'm walking into the gym this week, I should say, and I'm going to run a push-pull leg split, what's the best way to do that? So let's get into it. The most efficient machine-based push-pull legs workout. Now, what do we mean when we say push-pull legs? Let's talk to our layman. Let's talk to those who may not be familiar with the gym jargon, if you will. A push day is going to organize your pressing muscles. This is going to be your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. These are all muscles that are worked out by a pushing motion. It's very simple stuff. A pull day is going to organize the back muscles, primarily the rear delts and the biceps. These are all muscles that are going to be stimulated with a pull movement, rather. And then leg day organizes the lower body, the yams, hams, and quads. And so this is going to be the lower body that is going to be worked out. So that's what we mean when we talk about a push-pull legs split. So the right way, it's a great split. It's a good split because it gives structure to the week. It makes sense. It's intuitive. I don't run the push-pull split. I've run it at times modified, but for my goals and what I'm trying to do right now, it really doesn't align, but it may very well align for you. You just need to try it. And when it's designed properly, it can be very effective. It can be highly effective. And so that's our goal with this episode is a highly effective push-pull split using machines. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot use free weights. I'm not saying that you cannot use freestanding weights. But I chose machines for these reasons. This is why I want us to focus on machines in this push-pull leg program. 4 things. Now, I alliterated it for you so you can remember. Number 1, stability. That's what machines provide. They provide stability. There's usually a lot of instability when it comes to free weights, and with instability also comes injury. And so stability is number 1. Setup time, number 2. If you are short on time, if you need to get in the gym and get to work, if you need to get in the gym and get back home, then the push-pull split is probably for you. And so the machines are going to help you with setup time. It doesn't take that long to set up the machine. Sometimes you don't have to do anything but walk, sit down, do your reps, and then walk out. But then also safety under load, number 3. Safety under load. Sometimes there's a risk element. The heavier you go, there's a risk element. And so now you're in the gym, you need a spotter, right? You need somebody to spot you on the bench. You need somebody to spot you or help you when you're squatting or whatever the case may be. And so there may be a safety element there that is taken out of the way with machines, because if you use it correctly, it's usually a lot more safer. And then also succession. Number 4, succession. You're able to progressively overload, and you're able to monitor that overload very easily, because you know that last week you were at 150 pounds on the press, and now you're going to move down to 175. It's a lot easier to track your succession or your progressive overload. So remember those 4 things: stability, setup time, safety under load, and succession. That's why I'm choosing the machines over the free weights. But that's not to say that you can't use free weights for the push-pull leg split. And so what does that design look like? What does a push-pull leg day look like? Well, let's start with a push day. It's Monday. You're going to start with a push day. Everybody does push day on Monday. So let's go ahead and start with that. The first thing I would do is I would start with an incline machine press. An incline machine press, or better yet, an incline Smith machine press. If I were building an efficient push day, this would be one of the first machines I would look to. I love the incline Smith machine press. The movement primarily targets the upper chest, but it also brings in the front delts and the triceps. And because it gives you a strong compound pressing pattern and a high degree of stability, this is a great workout. It's a great workout for the upper chest. And so right away, you're getting a multi-muscle return. And what I mean by that is you're working out multiple muscles very heavily. You can overload this machine fairly easily, and there's some safety protocols that will help you to do that very easily. You don't necessarily need a spotter. And so right off the bat, the incline Smith press is the first thing that I'm going to approach during a push day. Okay, what's the second thing? From the incline Smith machine press, I'm going to move to the flat press machine. Now, I prefer the plate-loaded machine, the plate-loaded flat press. It is a beautiful machine. I feel like I get so much range of motion out of it. I feel like there's a better mind-muscle connection. I'm in love with the machine. If I could buy one and take one home, I would. And so the flat press, what it does, it gives a broader chest stimulus, where the incline had a focus primarily on the upper chest and the front delts and the tricep. The flat chest has a broader chest stimulus. And so this movement primarily works the chest while also training the front delts and the triceps. And the best machine in a hypertrophy focused split is often the one that lets you direct effort into the target muscle quickly, safely, and repeatedly. Quickly, safely, and repeatedly. And so the chest press is that for me. It's not a complicated setup. No spotter needed. Stack it, lift it, rack it, and leave. Flat chest press machine number 2. All right, so number 3, we're moving on. In this push day, we've got a machine shoulder press. This is what you're going to do next. And now this is a good push exercise, but you should keep in mind that a good push day should not become a chest day with a few shoulder leftovers. So many times what happens is that push day is just chest day. That's what it is. It's chest day. But a good push day should not become a chest day with a few shoulder leftovers. The shoulders need direct work as well. And so this is where the machine shoulder press comes in. There's, once again, you can do plate-loaded machines. You can do the machine, the cable machine, if you will. And the movement primarily works the front delts while also involving the triceps and a bit of the upper chest, depending on the angle of the machine. Some machines will allow you to move the bench just a little bit, and depending on how you're going to move that bench at what angle it is, it's going to pull the upper chest in. Just think about this: the more of an incline and the less of an upright, it's going to bias the upper chest a little bit more. All right, so let's move on. So you've got the shoulder press, and then you move on to exercise number 4, which is the pec deck or the chest fly machine. And after 2 pressing patterns, I want a more direct isolation movement. Why? Because pressing spreads the work across multiple muscles, and that's good, but sometimes the shoulders or tricep, they fatigue before the chest is fully challenged. You have to keep this in mind. You begin with a broad compound work, and then you follow it up with a more targeted work to finish the muscle without beating up the whole system. And so this is probably one of the reasons I steer away from the push-pull, is because I want to be able to feel my chest all the time. If I'm working out chest, I don't want to feel it some of the time. I want to feel it all the time. And so I love the isolation movements in the chest day. That's what that's going to do. But in this push-pull split, exercise number 4 on push day is going to be the pec deck. And the pec deck is a great movement, primarily targets the chest with minimal assistance from the front delts. All right, workout number 5. So you're in the gym, push day, workout number 5. This is one of those movements that people often underestimate until they realize what has been missing from their shoulder development, and that is the machine or cable lateral raise. The machine or cable lateral raise primarily works the side or medial delts, and with a small amount of upper trap involvement. And I like this machine because it keeps the tension constantly on the side of the delts. It keeps the tension rather on the medial delt, and it reduces cheating. Now, I love dumbbell lateral raises. But dumbbell lateral raises, it usually ends up in a swing with most people. If people are going to do any exercise wrong, I would say it would be a dumbbell lateral raise. I have seen some peculiar dumbbell lateral raises, but with the machine, it cleans all of that up. You're locked in there, it's stable, you only have one movement, it targets the muscle, and so that's why we want the machine, so that you're able to move away from all of that swinging back and forth. So it earns its place because it fills that gap that pressing does not fully cover, and it does with very little wasted effort. And so the machine or cable lateral raise is going to be your 5th exercise in the push day, and then your 6th exercise for the push day is going to be cable tricep pushdowns. Now your triceps have gotten their fair share of work. In every pressing movement, your triceps have gotten their work, and so we don't need to elaborate much on this, or we don't need an elaborate tricep menu. We need one good isolation movement, and that's going to be your cable tricep pushdown. You could use the rope, you could use the bar. I prefer the bar. I don't like the rope. The rope hurts my elbow just a little bit, and so I don't like the rope. But for the sake of this video, I recorded one with the rope as well. I like the bar better. It primarily works out the triceps. It's quick to set up, it's easy to progress on, and it makes sense at the end of a session, before you work out the gym. So that's your push day. Let's go over that again. So you're going to walk into the gym, you're going to hit the incline Smith press machine. You're going to then go to the flat chest press machine, plate loaded or machine. That's either one is fine. You're going to go to the machine shoulder press, then the pec deck, then the machine cable lateral raise, and then you're going to end with some cable triceps press down. And so then you're walking out of there on the first day of your push-pull leg split. All right, let's move on to the second day. This is going to be your pull day. And your pull day is going to focus on your back muscles. It's going to focus on your biceps and your rear delts, your posterior delts. And so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to walk to the cable machine, and we're going to grab the neutral grip. Now, for those of you who do not know about the gym jargon, if you're thinking about a neutral grip, think about your hands in this position. For those of you listening on Spotify, go watch the YouTube video. All right, watch the YouTube video. There's a lot of illustration in this video, and just go over to YouTube, hit like and subscribe, and watch the YouTube video. So this is a neutral grip. This is going to be a supinated grip, and this is going to be a pronated grip. So what we want a neutral grip. And if you're building an efficient pull day, this would be one of the first machines that you're going to choose, because it is one of the cleanest and most practical vertical pulling options for most people. It primarily works the lats, but it also trains the biceps, the teres major, and portions of the upper back. It's a great exercise. So once again, you have one exercise that is doing a lot of work. And if you may have noticed, that's what we're starting with. We're starting with that one movement that really does more than what you bargained for. So that's the neutral grip lat pull down. Can you use a mag grip? Yes. I like the mag grip to a certain extent. I've started moving away from it because the heavier I lift, my hands seem to fatigue before my lats do. And so I like to use the neutral grip because, excuse me, I like to use the neutral grip because I can actually put some straps on there and hold on to it. All right, so we move from the neutral grip lat pull down and we go to our second exercise in this pull day, and it is a chest supported row machine. A chest supported row machine. If there is one pull machine that I would truly call efficiently stable, it is the chest supported row, right? This movement primarily works the mid back, the lats, while also involving the rear delts and the bicep. Why is it preferred? Because your chest is supported, and so you cannot cheat the movement as easily, so your back has to do more of the actual work. So the effort goes into the back rather than into stabilizing your torso. That's why I love the chest-supported row machine. Now, you have a chest-supported where you have various options, but I like to see the chest-supported row machine. This movement is efficiently stable, and it helps you work out the mid back very, very well. And so, number three, the plate-loaded high row machine. The plate-loaded high row machine. So after the pull down and the chest supported row, I like the plate-loaded high row because it gives another pulling angle. And so this is going to primarily work the upper lats and the upper back while also involving the biceps and the rear delts. So that is going to be exercise number 3. So that's your neutral grip lat pull down. It's your chest supported row machine, number 2. You're going to then move to the plate-loaded high row machine. And then you're going to go to the reverse pec deck. So the pec deck finds its way back into the fray here. The rear delts are one of those muscle groups that people often assume are being handled by rows. And yes, they are to a certain extent. But because it is one of the cleanest ways to isolate the rear delts without turning the movement into a shrug, if you will, we're going to use the reverse pec deck. We're going to use the reverse pec deck, get in, get out. Now, are there other ways to operate the rear delts or to work the rear delts? Are there other machines that you can use? Yes, you can certainly use the row machine. If you have noticed that the row machine also has handles on the side that flares your elbows out, and the more your elbows are flared out, the more it is going to bias that rear delt. But the pec deck is chosen because it is easy, it's easy to manage, it's in and it's out. Remember, that's why we're picking all of these machines, because it is the easiest to do and it helps you to make the most gains by focusing on this specific muscle group. But then we're going to end with a preacher curl, and we're going to walk over to the preacher curl. We're going to build some guns. The sun's out, guns out this summer. And so by this point in the workout, the biceps have already participated in just about everything. And your biceps they're worn out by this point. Pull down, row, high row. So we need a good isolation movement to further break them down. And so this is where the preacher curl machine comes in. There's really nothing better than a good arm pump, you know. But for the most part, the heavier you lift, you're going to find out that your arms are going to get really involved and they're going to get really big on heavy back days. I don't even know when the last time I trained arms. I probably should. But heavy back days really, really help with arms. All right, so push day is done. Your pull day is done, and now we're going to end the episode right there and skip leg day. No, that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to skip leg day. The push pull legs. There is a legs in push pull. Some people only do the push pull. They don't do any legs. Push pull leg day. All right, so let's get into the gym for a leg day. I hope you've eaten enough. I hope you've gotten enough nutrition in, because leg days are very demanding. And so let's start the leg day with a hack squat machine or a pendulum squat machine. Now, if I were building an efficient leg day, this would be one of the first machines I would choose, because it is one of the best ways to load the lower body heavily without the demands and the technical complexities of a barbell squat. Squatting with barbell is not just about squatting. There's a technique, there's a way to do things. And if you have back issues, it's not necessarily the safest bet, right? There's a lot of things that could go wrong, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And so the movement, the hatch squat machine and the pendulum squats, I prefer the pendulum squat. Very easy on the back, very easy and very hard, if you will. You're not going to load up the pendulum squat with just all sorts of weight. You're going to build up to that point. But the movement primarily works the quads while also involving the glutes and a little bit of abductors. But it is a great quad workout. The hatch squat machine, if your gym has one, and a pendulum squat machine if your gym has one. But then we're going to do the 45-degree leg press. We're going to do the 45-degree leg press after the hatch squat. I like this because the movement primarily works the quads while also involving the glutes and the abductors, and depending on the stance and the depth, some hamstring contribution as well. It's a stable machine. It's easy to load. That's usually what most people do. You can go really heavy here, but within reason. There's no need for you to go really, really heavy and then half rep the thing or not complete your sets because you've gone too heavy. Make sure that the weight is where you can progressively overload, where you can complete your workout program. Don't go unnecessarily heavy just because you can. But a 45 leg degree press is going to be your second exercise on this leg day. Then we're going to move over to the seated leg curl. Now, this is one important because many people struggle, or rather, they structure a leg day almost entirely around quad dominant movements. They squat, they press, they lunge, and then they wonder why their hamstring development lags. All right? That's why I like the seated curl. The movement primarily works the hamstrings. You can use a lying leg curl or standing leg curl, but the seated leg curl is, I like it. I like the stimulus that it provides. Can you use RDLs? Yes. Once again, I just want to insert this in here. You can use RDLs. There are other ways that you can do this, but we're going to choose the machines because we want to focus on getting in, getting out. We want the best stimulus without necessarily all of the setup. And so that's why the seated leg curl rose to the top. But then exercise number 4, leg extension machine, another big, workout that is usually overlooked and has been hated on for a long time. I hear people hate on the leg extension machine. So after all the bigger compound work is done, I like the leg extension machine. It is one of the simplest ways to add direct quad stimulus without imposing much fatigue. And that is exactly how isolation works and should function in an efficient split. It should support the compounds, not compete with it. And so it trains the leg and quads in the shortened position, and it does so very well. I don't know of another exercise that trains them in the shortened position like the leg extension machine. And if there is, or a better exercise, I should say, that trains them in the extended or in the shortened position. But then exercise number 5 is going to be your hip thrust, your glute drive machine, a complete lower body session. Should not be all quads all the time. And so the glute needs direct action too. And so this is where the hip thrust or the glute drive machine comes in. If you have one in your gym, it seems like they're all over the place now. Didn't used to be. And so this movement primarily works the glutes, while secondarily also involves the hamstrings. And because it's a strong hip dominant pattern and gives, a lot of glute loading without necessarily the setup hassle that often comes with the barbell hip thrusting. You see people set up the barbell hip thrusting. That's great. But if you have a machine, that's a whole lot better because setting that thing up, I'm sure, is tedious to say the least. All right, let's move on then to the standing calf raise machine. This is going to be the 6th workout, the standing calf raise machine. And so this movement primarily works the calves. It's simple, it's easy to load, and it's easy to progress on. I don't need to explain the standing calf raise machine. It is self-explanatory. You get on the thing and slow. Don't try to move very fast on this. And so you want to be able to burn those calves during this leg day. And so that's it. That's it. You have a full leg day workout. You have a full leg day workout within the entirety of your push-pull split workout. And so let's go over that again, just very quickly. So you have a push day, incline Smith, flat chest press, machine shoulder press, pec deck, machine cable lateral raise, cable tricep push down. The next day, you're going to do a pull day, a neutral grip lat pull down, chest supported row machine, plate loaded high row machine, reverse pec deck, preacher curl machine. Then you're going to move on to legs, and it's going to be the hack squat or the pendulum squat, depending on what you have. 45-degree leg press, seated leg curl, leg extension machine, hip thrust or glute drive machine, and then a standing calf raise machine. So that's it. That is what I consider the most effective, or at least one of the most effective push-pull leg days, using the machines to gain or make as many gains as I possibly can. Now, you may not stay with the machines. You may decide, listen, we're going to do something else, but this at least gets you in the door. And do me a favor, stick with it. Stick with it for 6 weeks and see what you think. Progressively overload during those times. In fact, let's just do 8 weeks. Stick with it for 8 weeks. And come back and comment on this and tell me that you did not just have the greatest time doing this, but also that you did not see, or that you saw some significant gains. And so do not choose a split based on your favorite influencer. Just because your favorite influencer is doing that split, their goals might not be the same as yours. So don't do that. Choose a split because it fits your goal, because it fits your recovery, and it allows you high quality training. If your goal is hypertrophy and you want something practical, something efficient, repeatable, then machine-based push-pull leg split is an excellent option. And if this episode helped you, please subscribe to the podcast, the Pump Mechanic Podcast. We are on Spotify as well. And so if you want to send this to somebody with a workout, you can use Spotify or you can use our YouTube channel. And if you want the full machine list of today's episode, just go ahead and comment PPL in the comment section, and I'll put together a clean resource for you to where you can have that machine list ready laid out for you to take into the gym. I'm thankful that you have tuned in to the Pump Mechanic Podcast. Tune in next time as well. We'll be talking about rest. We'll be talking about sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? And how important is it for you to get enough sleep? And that's in the next episode of the Pump Mechanic Podcast. And so until next time, remember, lift hard and stay consistent.